welcome back to Beauty Bee and to an anti-haul. So I actually did a talking about new product releases, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago, but I was very positive in that video. I stuck mostly, generally, to things that I thought were actually nice or interesting, some combination of the two. And while I was definitely able to find some items that were positive to talk about, my little list of things that are horrendously awful that have come out recently has also grown. So today we're going to talk about 5 releases that have come out in the last 6 weeks or so that are just awful. Obviously, what's good or bad is value judgment. I think that I have pretty good reasoning why most of these may not be ideal for most people. However, if you love these, that's fantastic. And feel free to let me know in the comments if you have these and they're actually amazing, or a perceived flaw that I point out doesn't actually exist in your experience. So in actual human years, this is a recent release, but in dog years or gerbil years or ColourPop years, and that is the scale that we're working on, humans, dogs, gerbils, ColourPop, this is absolute ancient history, the Wine and Only collection. I'm amazed that ColourPop managed to mess this one up. The palette is just so light and ashy, it doesn't give me wine at all. Maybe watered down Kool-Aid, but not wine. The blushes are really light. You would think that a wine collection would really cater towards deeper skin tones, or at least people who prefer darker, more vampy, that red purple style of makeup, but this is all so light. And also, how did they manage to make a wine collection that doesn't have lip products? I feel like it's become a little bit less popular in the last year or two, but you used to hear quite a bit about lip stains and such that stained your lips as though you'd been drinking wine. In my opinion, this is the worst collection that ColourPop has ever come up with, and I hope that this is not a sign of yet more things to come, though it's ColourPop, so there's always more things to come. Now, since we're on the subject of ashy, let's take a look at this Clinique Foundation range. This is the Even Better Clinical Serum Foundation Broad Spectrum SPF 25, which brands need to cut it out with the names, like 3 words tops. That's more than enough. Now, the shade range is deplorable, clearly, but also a lot of the shades just seem to have a really strange gray cast to them. I mean, look at the darkest shades in the swatch. They look almost gray, as do some of the lighter shades in the bottle. Now, that doesn't come across in the swatch of the lighter shades, but the bottle really does look off. This is going to be awful, and I apologize in advance, but to me it almost reminds me of like makeup you might use on the deceased, though I guess it would be in a white funeral home, because as Caitlin Doherty taught me somewhere recently, apparently those are still somewhat separate institutions, at least in the US. Anyway, very lacking, and we're going to move on. I decided to actually move a little further to the side so I can put the images up more easily. But next we have the Glam Glow Marilyn Monroe collection. Glam loves coming out with these quote-unquote collaborations where it's just the same product that they always have, but they put, a different sticker on the front. It's not very creative, first of all, but more importantly, I don't like the fact that they are using Marilyn Monroe like that. I think exploiting after death the attractiveness of a woman whose attractiveness did cause her to be exploited a lot in life is a bit tasteless. And the fact that the people who are now in charge of Marilyn's likeness not only didn't know Marilyn themselves, they're now a couple layers removed from people who actually did know Marilyn and would maybe respect her wishes a bit more. However, I don't feel personally comfortable with it, so I'm going to be staying even further away from this than I do with most Glam Glow products. So I guess equally far, because I've never bought anything from the brand before and don't plan to do so anytime soon. Next up, we have the NYX Lunar New Year collection. Well, they say it's a Lunar New Year collection. However, as I look at this, I think they're trying to do double duty here and make it Lunar New Year, but also Valentine's Day. Let me know what you think about this. I am not super familiar with the traditions around the Lunar New Year, but to me, it seems like NYX is going for a pretty lazy approach. Just let's make it red. This is just their warm neutral palette repackaged in red packaging, and I don't see anything besides the red that just screams Lunar New Year. And with the hearts and the gold chains, it looks like they're almost going for maybe a sort of Versace inspired take on a Valentine's Day collection, which I wish that brands would be a little bit more creative with their Lunar New Year releases. Like, I get that it will likely be a little bit toned down for the same reason that so many of the holiday releases are toned down, because you're giving them as gifts, you want to appeal to a pretty wide audience, etc. But I wish they would put a little bit more effort in the same way that they do for their Christmas releases, which have been getting a little bit better over time. I wish they would put a little bit more effort in, rather than just, putting an ox into an existing highlighter shade or coloring some packaging red. For our penultimate offering, we have the Tartelette Juicy palette. Now, this is a very repetitive palette just in itself, not even comparing it to the rest of Tarte's range. I think it makes sense that a new addition to the Tartelette line would be quite neutral. I mean, the other three palettes have been, so let's keep with the series. However, I feel like this could have been a 12 pan like the other three palettes and not lost anything. I mean, there are about 6 very similar, somewhat pinky, matte, neutral transition / crease shades in here, and that's ridiculous. Also, they're not giving you any more variety than you would get in a 12 pan palette, so why didn't they just make this 12 pans and give us that beautiful packaging that the other Tartelette palettes had? Say what you will about Tarte, but I do think they nailed the packaging on those earlier Tartelette releases. I don't like this pink plastic packaging. It looks cheap, it looks dated. The first thing I thought of when I saw this was Nisi Pisa's The Barbaras, and that this looks like a tattoo that one of the Barbaras got in 2011 and decided to put on the palette because it symbolizes her free spirit. So yeah, I'm not into it. Also not into whatever this hair is doing. I've slicked that down 3 times today. Goodness. Sometimes you just can't win. Now, I saved the best / worst for last. This is the YSL Rouge sur Mesure custom lipstick shade maker, and this is very expensive. The device plus 2 sets of cartridges is $299, and then you buy additional trios of cartridges for $100. So the idea here is that this device connects to your phone and you can select custom lipstick colors and it will mix it for you. Now that sounds somewhat reasonable in theory, but first of all, you have to buy these cartridges for it. The cartridges, as we discussed earlier, come in a trio and they're $100. And I think this will get you in the same way that colored ink cartridges get you if you have a printer. Now, you run out of one color, and you can't just buy, in a lot of cases at least, just cyan. No, you have to go and you have to buy the entire new cartridge, even though you've only run out of one color, which stinks when it's just a printer cartridge. But stinks a lot more when it's $100 thing of lipstick. And unlike a printer, you can mix your lipsticks yourself. There's nothing stopping you from layering two lipsticks together. And you can get a lot of lipsticks to mix for $300. I'm not really interested in any product that requires me to use a lip brush. And I'm definitely not going to be taking a compact with a tiny little bit of lipstick and a lip brush with me everywhere I go to touch up throughout the day. I also think you would need to clean this pretty thoroughly in between almost every use because the new color would be tainted by the shade that was left over, which not a big problem if you aren't going for a very specific color, but if you aren't going for a very specific color, why are you getting a Bluetooth enabled printer to make one for you? I think this is fun in theory. This would be a really fun little, $25 craft kit you could buy at Michael's. However, this is a $300 Yves Saint Laurent lipstick maker, and the practicality for $300 and actual use just isn't there. Alright, so there's my little mini roast of some things that have come out recently. Also, let me know if there are any recent releases that have had you scratching your head. I don't know if there's something in the air or the water or what, but I feel like makeup companies have been up to some nonsense recently, and they need to cut it out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and that you'll consider liking and subscribing if you did. And I'm looking forward to next time. See ya!